Hello, everyone watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify. It's another episode of NRG Insights. For those that don't know, this is speaking to influential people in the financial services market, whether that be broking, lending, or ancillary products into financial services, and anyone who can really kind of add value to other people's journeys. So today I've got Steve from Credicus. Thanks for joining me, Steve.
Thanks for having me, Marcus. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talk about it. So I wanted to get you on. We had this conversation the other day, probably in a pub. Just because the things that we talk about are really relevant to, small businesses. There'll be lots of people that resonate with the challenges that you've had, the successes that you've had. And so I said, look, it'd be great to get you on, and we'll share those. We won't share all the conversations we have, but we'll share a couple of those conversations. So for those that don't know, tell people about your kind of journey to where you are as MD of Credicus.
Yeah, I think it's a well-worn path in terms of mortgage broking. I started over 20 years ago as a estate agent mortgage broker. Built up a client bank there. The banking crisis hit, so I came into London. I was plodding away over in Essex, and then came into London. Again, very lucky to build a decent enough client bank. And then once you've got a good client bank, some good lead sources, you think, well, I'll go self-employed. Mm-hmm. Then once you go self-employed, you think, what's the next step? I've got to become an AR maybe of somewhere, build a team. And then Credicus itself, coming up nearly to 5 years in terms of we've been running. And that was born out of both doing mortgages and protection, pretty standard stuff, but equally a bit more specialist stuff as well in terms of your bridging commercial development stuff. We've hopefully grown over the last sort of 4 or 5 years and enjoying ourselves at the moment.
And here we are now. Well, actually, we were just talking about enjoying it. It's a weird market at the moment, isn't it? Like you're in a bit of a purple patch, but we know it's been a challenging time as well, right? It's been a interesting market.
I think it's an interesting market because it's a challenging place. The world's a challenging place. A lot of uncertainty out there. Some unhappiness out there because it's challenging in different areas. So obviously, as a business, you have to try and adapt. And I think the nice thing as a brokerage, any brokerage, you've always got the opportunity to refinance for people, whether they want to.
Yeah, the debt's still there, isn't it, whether they like it or not.
And you look at different avenues and you try and just get by on that side and try and make efficiencies and move forward so you're in a good place. But yeah, I think the market itself, I feel sorry for estate agents. I think it's a tough old time to be an estate agent.
Do you know, it's such a tough gig, isn't it? If you haven't got a back book or anything at the moment, or any with your commercial niche and that kind of thing, if it's just, I speak to a lot of your Countrywide and Connells type brokers who are trying to get out just because they're twiddling their thumbs and they haven't really been taught how to do anything else apart from wait for the guy to walk in the door.
100%. It's hard though, isn't it? Back in my Countrywide days, 20 odd years ago, I doubt they've progressed too much more than people walk through the door or people register.
They are exactly the same. Yeah. Wonderful hunting ground for me, by the way, because they do train people really well, but they don't treat people very well. I'm not going to get. Hopefully, I won't get any defamation lawsuits against me now, especially after all of the conditional selling stuff that's been on recently. Surely they should just keep keeping their head down. They probably don't watch, but genuinely though, lovely, good place to work, good place to train, good place to work initially. Difficult to kind of justify staying there at the moment, I think.
I think 1,000,000%, but I think that's the same. I think once you get to a stage after you've done a few years in the industry, I think most people were looking at where do you get your clients from, really. That's what a brokerage, any part of the financial service industry is about, clientele, isn't it, really? So as soon as you start getting referrals, you meet other people, you think, well, actually, I can do this without having to sit in an estate agent's office or rely on an estate agent. Because if you rely on a estate agency, the trouble is you are very cyclical to the market. You're tied completely to the market. So if it goes well, you're like, oh, this is amazing. If it goes badly, you're like, this is not so great. So
yeah, I think it's just not knowing as well, right? They just have that They don't know what they don't know. So they just. I speak to a lot of those guys where they're like, I just don't want to be a broker anymore. I'm like, you're not being a broker. Like, you haven't done it yet. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's more to this industry than sitting there waiting for a lead to come in, hopefully getting it. It's a 50-50 chances. I think all good brokers generate, don't they? That's the magic.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a difference, and I've been talking about this with my team here. It's you don't want to be an order taker. Anyone can be an order taker.
Yeah. Well, order
there's
takers
no
will be
skill.
taken over by AI because they take orders.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do.
So, yeah, and that's exactly, mate. And then you look at it, and you actually, well, are you a broker? Are you a paraplanner? That's another thing. A broker, to me, has the ability to self-generate business. They're not sitting there going, "Oh, where's my next lead coming from?" It's where am I going to find my next lead?
Yeah.
And there is plenty of opportunity out there. We're very lucky to work in London, or I'm very lucky to work in London. There is oodles of opportunity out there, but you've got to get yourself out and do stuff.
Yeah.
But because whenever you see people moaning or being miserable about leads, it's usually because they haven't put themselves out to do anything.
And it's tough initially as well, isn't it? I think people need to kind of understand that. You know, I was speaking to two young lads yesterday. I was at a lender do, and they're just setting out, and they're going for everything. Yeah, and it reminds me of when when we talked years ago how tough it is to get on, but they're doing the right things, and they are struggling a little bit. But I said to them, "You boys will be okay if you keep doing what you're doing, keep going out and getting leads, you can teach anyone to sell a mortgage. You cannot. To self-generate is something that's the magic." And they were like, "Yeah, but it's really tough. Like, we could go and work for someone else and make more money." And we've had that conversation. How many business owners have had that conversation? I could go and work for, as one-man band, but it's once they get that machine going, it's hard. But it's hard to show someone younger when they are, they are going for a tough time. It's difficult, isn't it? But the machine does work.
Yeah, it's also really dull. Sometimes you just have to be. What's the two things is consistency and discipline, which is key to anyone. Isn't it? When we're working,
boring, isn't it? That's why we can't sell it.
Yeah, and it's boring as well. That you've got to be in the industry for a while. You can't build up a book by going. Actually, I've tried that for 2 months. I'll go somewhere else, or I'll. I didn't work after 6 months. It is a long slog that you think.
We see that all the time, don't we? We see those guys that are 6 months, and they're thinking like, it's something to do with them. It's something to do with them. I think you have to be quite self-aware or have a bit of reflection on like what's the actual problem, because it's not the mortgage market because people are selling mortgages. It's a tough market, but people are making money. Some people are making really good money, and some people are really struggling. But I think to keep moving, to think that it's once I move here I'll be happy, or once I move here I'll get it, or this is going to be different. Like a lot of it's just you. A lot of it's you just have to get out there and get busy.
Well, it's that definition of madness, isn't it? You keep doing the same things time and time again and expect different results. It's like, well, if I go to this other company that's promised me 150 leads a week, I'm definitely going to make more money.
Where they get them from? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there are those companies, but again, that's like AI wrapped up. There are those mortgage companies where you can work from home, pay a decent basic, but it's just mind-numbingly not broking.
Yeah.
It's, you know what I mean? It's just, if you look at, and they actually have I think one of the good things about mine is the same as yours is that we get to enjoy the fulfillment of seeing something through and helping someone, and in that kind of I'm going to call it robo advice, but it's not because there's a mortgage broker at the end of the phone. But you know what I mean? In that system where you're being fed leads and stuff, you're not getting to the end bit either. You're
another number. Yeah. And I think it's also the great thing about the industry. I mean, you and I have known each other now for 4 or 5 years, and it's been great to get to know you. But that's what life's about. It's building relationships. And it's building relationships with, as a broker, building relationships with lenders, other brokers even. I've got introducers that are brokers. I've got, obviously, recruiters. You've got solicitors. You've got accountants.
Well, recruiter, singular. Come on. No. Well, how dare you? How dare you do more than one?
Only the top one, mate.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's relationship building, and that's the difference. If you were just sitting there taking an order at home or whatever you might be, it's a dull life, and it's not a fulfilling life. So you pick the lane that you want to drive down. But I think if you're always searching for something more or better, I think you have to, again, like you say, I think the key, you hit the nail on the head about reflection. When you reflect and you go, well, actually, is this what I want? Is this not what I want? It's
Well, we get that with CVs when they look and go, so what's the problem here? Oh, my boss was a knob. What was the problem here? The boss was a knob. Let me guess, was your boss a knob here? And you go, I don't think it's your boss's, mate. I'll be honest with you. You might be the problem.
we may all be, though. That's the question. I mean, but ultimately, that's the thing. When you actually reflect on stuff, it's like pinpointing what the issue is, isn't it? That's the hardest thing to nail down in terms of improving, is to say, well, actually, why am I unhappy here? Actually, is it lead source? Is it company structure? Invariably with salesmen and brokers, it comes down to money. Am I making enough money, and what am I doing? But I think
the money comes down to being good at the thing you're doing as well, right?
Yeah.
You're like, if you're just chasing money all the time because that company will get you more money, you won't make any more because it's about the output.
Yeah, 100%. But actually, sometimes you have to cut yourself money in the first instance to make money at the back end, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I say that to people who are going self-employed as well. I mean, I know you've got both models, but for decent brokers and that panic about self-employed, because we're stuck in this like mentality of someone gives me a lead and they give me whatever 35 grand and then I get my 10% and I get 20%. But actually, if you look at some of them and if you can complete 5 or 6 deals, you can be self-employed and you go out and win business. Like it just feels better. It's like you're like a business development manager, relationship manager, mortgage broker. I know it's not for everyone, but it's a fulfilling. It's much more fulfilling than doing a. I feel like I'm disparaging to half the people that I work with, but you know what I mean.
But no, I think everyone's got their, like I say, don't want to be too evangelical about the whole thing, but everyone's got their own journey. But you talk about self-employed versus going employed. I remember when I went self-employed 10, 12 years ago, because it probably took me 6 months to a year to make that final leap to do it, because you always have these worries. You're like, well, I might have looked at my situation and for the last 2 years my company hadn't given me a lead because I didn't need one. So I was like, well, but it still took me a while to go, well, actually I'm ready to go self-employed. But then you go self-employed, and I said it to you in the past, if you back yourself and you look at what you need to write, I mean, if you're doing the typical splits and you're generating even 10 grand a month's worth of income,
you're making good
well, that's going to be, it's basically you're earning £6,000, and it's well, actually, that as a self-employed person, if you've got a limited company, right tax structure, good accountant.
Yeah, and you think how much that would net you as an employed person? It's nowhere near the same amount.
Oh, 100%. And then
not that we all do the right thing and save those those good months for the bad months, etc. Because we're all still simpleton salespeople as well. But
100%. No, exactly. But then once you get that, and you get that first few months where you think, well, I got 6,000 now. Then it builds up. You're like, actually, this makes sense, and you can be a little bit more dynamic about what you're doing, because I think the employed role is very good and important as well, don't get me wrong, but you can sometimes box yourself in a particular area and say, this is what I do, whereas you've got the blinkers on, whereas I think self-employed, by its nature, you look for opportunities more, because you haven't got... You need to, don't you, right?
When I get up in the morning, I'm on zero. I think that when I'm on my train to London, I'm on a minus 120 quid. Because of my train ticket. So gives you a bit of a kick up the arse when you're like, one more meeting. One more meeting. Yeah, it does make a difference. But again, it's really easy for me to say that because I love it. I love that, like the pressure, if you like, and that's internal as well, not stress. It's pressure I put on myself because I am pot committed for that day. I really enjoy it, but I suppose it's not for everyone at the same time. If your train ticket's covered and your house is covered, you might sell better when you're relaxed either. So I suppose everyone's different.
Well, exactly, and like I say, it's an individual journey, but it does sometimes give you a concern. I mean, when you send me through CVs, and a little bit of a red flag when it comes, I'm self-employed at the moment, I'd like to go and actually be employed. Can you give me a big fat
There's always good reasons, Steve. There is always good reasons.
And they might be great, and it actually might be that it fits your company, because actually you sometimes want people that want to just write business and
you still need the engine room, don't you? You don't want everyone to set up their own business.
Yeah, exactly. So it's interesting when you see everything. But I'd always say to anyone, it's the biggest thing is confronting your fears, and that's what holds us all back. And the older we get, the more fearful we get. So I think it was certainly the best thing. And the funny thing is, when I went self-employed, then you go back, I really wish I'd done that 2-3 years beforehand.
Yeah, it's like anything that goes right, isn't it? You're like, I wish I'd done that before. I was thinking that about when we move into different verticals, or like when we went from local to London, then to London to lending. I was like, if I'd done that 8 years ago, but I probably wouldn't. You're where you are at the right time, aren't you? Because if I'd done it 8 years before, I probably would have fucked it up. That was probably the time when BD was about getting smashed, and I probably wouldn't have got any clients, or not remembered any clients. So it does all happen at the right time, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit like the business we've spoken about, because we've got similar sized businesses, and we often talk about challenges and mistakes that we've made in the last 4 or 5 years.
So many.
But not that we've made any, obviously.
Imagine that. I do speak to guys. Sorry to jump in. I've got a client. They're nailing it. Like, they got things up to like 11, I was talking to them yesterday in the pub, and they were like, "Yeah, we're just doing all right. Everyone's been all right. I haven't got rid of anyone yet. I haven't gone." And I said, "I know you think this is normal." I said, "But it is not. Like 99% of us cock up with our recruitment. We cock up with our strategies. We do something wrong. You know what I mean? We go down an avenue we shouldn't because that's the way inclined. We're all risk takers, hence we're business owners." I'm like, it might go wrong for you later on, but you're fucking nailing it. So, like, I understand that.
It's amazing, mate, if you ask me. I mean, yeah, they're right. Yeah, the mistakes that I've made, I mean, like, say, recruitment, structure, everything, just we rolled off. It's like, you've made a mistake somewhere. But then it's like anything in life, again, is it a mistake if you've learned from it? If you actually then take the learnings from that and you're still standing, actually, it's not a mistake. You move forward, don't you? So.
Yeah. Do you know what? It's true. It's cheesy about the mistakes and learning, but it's so true, isn't it? Like, I don't think my business wouldn't be where it is now. I mean, it's not, it's not incredible, but at the same time, the structure-wise, I wouldn't have got to where we are now unless I'd cocked up. Because you don't know. Those guys going along going, "This is brilliant. Business is easy." Like, you just don't. They never learn. I mean, there will be hurdles for them, but that's the bit that you learn from, don't you?
I think the early days as well is when you're sort of scrambling away, because obviously you're blinkered again there. I keep using the word blinkered, but you're blinkered because you're thinking about money all the time. You're thinking about money.
Getting in the door.
We've spoken about this a lot. You're like, well, where's the payroll at the end of the month? I know I need to hit this figure.
Yeah.
That nothing else kind of matters. There's no strategy. There's no.
No.
Actually, I want more bums on seats because I need to actually earn more money to pay more people and get this done and what have you. And it's and once actually you get through maybe a point where you're not worrying every single month about payroll and everything else, that's when you can take a step back to say, oh, actually, strategy. What do we actually want to do?
That is important with structure as well. Like, we've just taken on a new sales director for that reason, because I spend so much time on making sure that everyone is paid and everyone's fed that actually I miss out on all the other things. So, but then you probably take them on earlier than you should and that kind of thing as well, because you find the right people. But it's a constant tightrope, isn't it? I mean, again, we've talked about it. We're lucky that we really enjoy it. Because I think that's the important thing as well to point out, because people will see your kind of successes with Credicus and go, "Oh, you went estate agency, brokerage, self-employed, but like the obvious route." Yeah. Oh, it's been easy for you, but it's tough, isn't it? Like, the whole journey is not like, "I'll just sail through and then we get this and then we get 5 people and they all stay and that works out." And it's so much learning. You get it right one day, like you look back and that it's only like a purple patch for maybe 4 years out of like 20, where you go, "I mean, that was nailed it."
Yeah, I think the key thing though is I think we're very lucky in the industry we are. There's so many good people out there, so many really good people. And I look at my journey again, actually very cheesy, but I've been lucky to be surrounded by some really good people, and it's not about financial.
You are a magnet for it, though, Steve. I'm not going to get full cheesy, but you are a magnet for it, and that's why I said to you before, like you run a really good business, and you're never like we have around. I mean, it's really hard to be the loudest person in the room with the people that we hang with, but you're never the loudest guy in the room. But you're always really well thought of by everyone. You don't really piss anyone off. Do you know what I mean? You're just you can be a good guy and build a business as well. Like, it's not. I know you say but there are good people surround you, but that's relative to how you are with people, I think.
I think so. Well, that's very kind of you to say so, but I think. Yeah, like I say, my view is that there's so many good people in the industry. I mean, you know more people than I do because the job.
This is my job to just run around saying hello to everyone, waving like an idiot.
But I think if you surround yourself with good people, the majority of the time, good things happen, and then that's when opportunities happen. Again, it goes back to don't be closeted in what you do and how you go about stuff. But I always think just be true to yourself as well. I'm never going to be the loudest. I mean, obviously, you've got yourself, Mr. Horton, people like that. But
whoa. Yeah, not me. I'm a wallflower compared to him.
But no, it's a great industry to be in. Great people, and I think it's on the whole, I really enjoy what we do. So,
do you know what? If you weren't surrounded by good people as well, like, the shit times would be super shit, wouldn't they? And it's not. I think. I mean, we all talk, like, we've got lots of different circles of people in financial services, but and we don't kind of just because you don't. I don't think personally you should spout all of your bad times on LinkedIn, but I do think you should have those select groups of people that you can talk about it with. And that's important as well, right? We've got a good network of people with you. Like, if there's tough bits, same as celebrating your wins. You know, let someone know if someone's done really well, and that you can put on LinkedIn. Celebrate your wins. Yeah. I just don't think we need to be super as vulnerable as we are at the moment. But that's another story. But it's nice to be. To your point, it's nice to be surrounded by good people in the good bits and the tough bits. The tough bits are less tough.
Again, you've very good point, mate. Because honesty is a key. That's a key ingredient to build trust, because actually that's what all relationships are, whether they're a working one, a friendship, family, whatever it is, it's all trust. And when trust stops, the relationship breaks down. But honesty is a great thing to have, and I really enjoy, you know, we obviously have some meetings where we've got a circle where people talk, and it's actually people having the same insecurities, the same doubts, the same...
If you only saw each other through business eyes, you'd be like, everyone else is smashing it and I'm not. But because we're all open and, like you say, you trust people with the information, you go, oh, good. You're not, you know, I'm not the only one.
And if you speak to other brokers, you know, we all speak to certain people, and they're, based on what they're telling you, they should be living in Barbados and about £5 million a year, or probably emigrating to Dubai because it's the place to be. Yeah. But ultimately, we're all trying to scratch a living and just trying to enjoy ourselves and support our families or support whatever lifestyle we're leading. And once you drill down from there, we're all the same. So it's like, honesty is a real key thing, and that trust is a real good thing, because actually with the people I know and I've classed as friends, I put that trust in them, and you get that repaid back to you, which is lovely. Yeah,
absolutely. Okay, so talk to me about some of the challenges that or probably a lot of people that watch this as well, find as small business owners. How do you would you overcome the initial growth challenge? Because it's a toughie for everyone, right? That 0 to 5 is difficult.
Yeah, I think the challenge when Credicus first started, I mean, obviously, the first thing is, as a self-employed person, you after doing it for a few years, probably 7 or 8 years, you're like, I got this cracked out. There's no problems. I know when I'm
just need 5 of each.
Yeah, I know when my tax is going to be due. I know what I'm doing. I can go down the golf course at 3 o'clock this afternoon. It's all lovely. But when you start a business, no one teaches you how to start a business. So you have these ideas, and I always say, look, I thought I was going to be the best boss in the world. I'll give you this, I'll give you that, and whatever. I was very lucky that one of my first hires, well, probably was my first hire. He's a really good person, no longer with Credicus, but doing really well in the industry. Yeah. And I was lucky with him to have someone I really trusted, and someone that actually we could talk, and he really had he does have a really good strong work ethic, and I knew he wasn't going to ever screw me over or anything like that. So I think recruitment is key. I've made mistakes on recruitment, but that was my mistakes, because actually I went to going, well, I need to recruit brokers. I need to get brokers because I need to get money in the door. The big mistake I made in the first few years is actually not getting my structure in place. Because actually, if you don't get the structure in place, and you said about the engine, I've got too many chiefs and not enough Indians in terms of what we're doing and how we go. And that's something I've only addressed in the last 12 to 18 months, to say, actually, I don't need ego or brokers. I actually need people to drive the business forward and do that.
I think that's really important. But again, it's that self-reflection thing of, we're all just grafting every day. And I know we're not digging holes. Like, I know I use that phrase way too much. But I know we're not, like, you know, we are, it's an relatively intense job in the sense that it's hard. But because you're at the coalface all the time, it's really hard to look back at the business and go, what does it actually need? I think that's a good point for people that are watching it. You actually need to take time, don't you?
Yes. Because actually, if we had this chat a while ago, a couple of months ago, I think it was, and actually the easiest time to reflect when you're in business is when things are going pretty well, because actually you're like, well, I can actually take a step back and I can have a look at things.
You seem to be more when it goes well, you're better at, like, you're sort of a bit more moany when it's going well. You're a bit more critical, because when it's hard, you just bang, aren't you?
You're full on it, and then you're going, well, where are we going to be at the end of the month? What else do I need to get in? And you also spread yourself over the whole of the business as well. You know, we got a couple. We had the first hire, then we got a couple more people in, and you get to the end of the month and you're doing payroll commissions for people, and you're like, I know every single case here. As an owner, I shouldn't know every single case that's going on here. Because it's the difficulty you have as a salesman, probably, or whatever, is you're a control freak. So you want to be in control of everything. It's like, well, you're not doing that job properly. I'll take over and I'll make sure this completes. Or
that's an issue. That's like, because I have the same issue, so I can say this, but that is a leadership issue in the sense that you have to give people that time to kind of make it, but we also have to hit payroll every month, and we also have to bring money in. So there's a fine line between, yes, I want you to grow as a person and let you make those mistakes, but fucking hell, if I did it now, we would make money. But it's that happy medium, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And then as you go through, I think again, I don't think there's any shame in that. Even 4 or 5 years on, is that survival is a key. Is a great instinct to have. Can you survive the next month?
Yeah.
Can you survive and then as the months tick by, you've suddenly up to 5 years, and you're like, oh, okay, we're okay. Now what do we do, and how do you grow it? And again, every single stage, I think, of any business is, what do you want to do? Do you want to scale? Do you want to be content where you are? What's your exit? I think, again, running a business is a lot more difficult because you've got these constant thoughts in your head about, what's my exit? How am I scaling? What am I doing?
Yeah. You have to remember to enjoy it, don't you? Because you're constantly thinking. But that's the trouble as well. Like, you get, if you got like, oh, once we get to X amount, that's kind of a goal. But it's not, is it? Because when you're a couple of grand off that X amount, at X amount's nothing. Yeah. So you're constantly looking. And as business owners, we struggle to stay still as well, and just enjoy. Like, oh, it's going all right at the moment. I mean, I don't. Well, it's really difficult to just go, oh, okay, that's cool. Like, I'm making some money and bills are being paid. Let's just do this.
Take this afternoon off. It's great. Yeah, but you don't do it. Yeah. Even when you go out in the afternoon, or you do things thinking, okay, well, what do we do? And then it goes through your head about 27 times. And it's like, and then nothing ever, and the other thing that's always certain in life, nothing ever goes the way you think it's going to go.
No. Twice as much, it takes twice as long.
Yeah, you can prepare everything in your head going, this is going to be brilliant. And then it's like, it works out, but it's never going to work. And I always think if you've got the ability to actually not think about things as much, I overthink far too much, and because again, that's another thing that I've learned, is that things do work their way out, and there's always solutions to stuff. Whatever solutions, any business owner would have probably thought, actually, the first time you phone up HMRC and you're like, this is scary. Yeah. After you make a couple of calls, you realise there's or you think, funding, shall I borrow some money to go forward with this or do that? And it's like, there's all these different tools and everything else that we do, but equally, like I say, it's surviving.
They're just not, the problems that feel massive at the moment aren't big problems, are they? We recently, with my other half, I was saying, like, so quite a big. My biggest, my record salary that I've ever dropped, it just fell out. And she was like, "You're so calm about it," and I was like, "I've been doing this 15 years, man. I'll make that." You know what I mean? It's what if I got stressed about everything? That was a killer. Like every deal hits you still a little bit. We're still salespeople, and I still want to help the people, and But at the same time, if I worried about everything as a business owner, I would be put myself in an early grave, without a doubt. Because it's too hard to worry about everything.
Well, we talk about resilience a lot, and resilience is one thing that every broker has to have.
Yeah.
I
think every salesperson, everyone, I think we're losing it in a generation of resilience. So we're starting to see it more and more. It's kicking.
And then the other thing is you've got to be as calm as possible. So you can't be too high on stuff, because you can't be high on deals until they go over the line, and you can't be too low on things either. So
it's funny that new people in the business, they're like, that was nearly there, innit? I'm like, it is not even 10% there, and they're starting next week, and it's not even 10% there. We go, chill out.
Your projections from staff in, and you go, that's not going to complete this. I'm
quite the optimist when it comes to when it's the forecasting. I say to other people, like, well, that's going to go in, isn't it? And they're like, no, but I think it's different because I have to pay the bills, whereas they know what's coming in and what's not. So I'm like, come on, let's be optimistic.
But I think the key thing is, whenever I've lost deals, actually has always spurred me on to look at my little book and go, what other deals have I got in the pipeline? And actually, am I okay? Firstly, we're okay. We can still go forward. Yeah. Secondly, just means I have to find some more deals. It's not something that you need to go off and jump off a bridge about the whole thing, because actually, as long as you're okay and you've got your bread and butter going through, deals will come.
I think that's the magic as well, and it's just making sure you don't neglect the little stuff. Because it's really easy to look at that white whale, isn't it? And I spoke to so many commercial brokers that are like, 700 million in the pipeline, whatever. They got ridiculous pipelines and everything's sticky. Go, well, you have neglected that 300k bridge. Do you know what I mean? There is that element of
it's
so easy to look at the exciting stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the old adage, it's like the acorns broke, because you don't know where any deals will take you in terms of relationship, what they're going to do. Also, big deals always make me nervous. I always think they're not.
Because they do hit you hard, don't they? Because you feel it, and then you're like, oh, it's coming.
And every day you're thinking about it. But they're the cream on top. But actually, I think the bread and butter, I'd rather, to be honest, right, sometimes you'd have 10, 200 grand deals rather than 1, 2 million deal. Because actually,
at least 60% of those go through.
Exactly, and then I'm like, well, we're good here, and it might be actually easy to get it through anyway. So
I love the big deals. Like I like being involved in them. So I like the negotiation. I like the commercialness of it. But you're right. Like we can't be super distracted and those 10 clients
can then refer you to other people, and you've got actually 10 more opportunities to actually speak to people. So there's I don't think I see this a lot with people, because how do you describe yourself? And I'm just a broker, really, to be honest with you. But
I say that. It feels really weird when we go like business. I own. If I meet someone I don't know, I say I'm in recruitment. I never say like I own a recruitment company, because I do BD. I still interview people. I'm a recruiter. I don't like.
So I'm a broker. But the people that I speak to, they go, "Oh, I'm a high net worth broker." And I'm like, I don't really understand what a high net worth broker is. We're all doing the same job.
Yeah. I have the same clients as you.
Yeah, we have high net worth clients, but we also don't have high net worth clients. It's like, they don't get treated any differently.
Oh, don't worry. When I sell you, it's a high net worth brokerage. Yeah, I'm not. I don't sell you on the 200k ones.
Yeah, but it's equally. I don't get any ego from that. To be honest with you, mate, it's you do a good job, whether it's a 200 grand case or a 2 million quid case.
I think I said this before. I always use this as an example, but one of the top commercial brokers he writes like £1 million. His biggest client was off a 160 grand mortgage that someone else didn't want to do, and the guy's got a £14 million portfolio off of him, and that's a client for life. It's mad, isn't it? I think it might have even been his daughter's or something, like a tiny mortgage, and no one else touched it. It came through on the sales line, and but that's the difference, and that's why that guy writes £1 million as well, right? Because he'll do every deal.
It's brilliant, mate. I mean, I was talking to one of our guys this week, and she was talking about, we did this mortgage for someone. And I said, do you know where that client came from? And she was like, no. I said, well, that's the brother of that client. Do you know where that client came? That's the sister of this client. And you can say, it's only time that
amazing, you're especially doing a good job.
Yeah,
that's the magnet.
I haven't asked anybody to refer me to their loved ones or anything like that. It just is an organic thing. And I said, we do a good job. Then, like I say, who's to know if that brother's not a multi-millionaire somewhere that's really looking for
it's the interesting one yesterday, because I just picked up a few vacancies from a client who I bumped into at a trade show like 2 or 3 years ago. He was looking to get out of his current role. I couldn't actually help him, but then we kept in contact, and we still did a good job for what we could. It's just he found a better offer. Went to that company. He's now the head of the commercial. Phoned up yesterday. They need more business, and I was like, if I didn't go to that trade show 4 years ago, that one doesn't happen. You can't track them all like that. But there is a distinct return on investment of just keep going, speaking to everyone. You can't help everyone, but don't be a dick. It's really easy.
Exactly. 100%, mate. Activity creates activity. The old adage. All the old adages you learned when you're in your 20s. The phone only rings when you pick it up. It's like, it doesn't. Just staring at the phone and expecting it to ring you, or an email comes in, you're staring at your emails going, well, why no one giving me any leads here? This is crazy.
I think it's nuts that people aren't out and about more. You know what I mean? Like, you're going out and seeing people, because they don't consider it, because it's not because it's not maybe direct production time. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I think it's nuts. I don't see more recruiters out on the street. Like I am just speaking to people. I picked up a role last night for a lender who I had actually gone to meet someone else, and they hadn't turned up, and I bumped into the guy, and they said, we're really struggling with this, and I thought, it's 8 o'clock. I don't think I'm not drinking either, so I'm not like I'm not, it's not a wild time, but it's still 8, 9 o'clock. I'm still not going to get until midnight. But if I hadn't just been walking the streets selling my wares, then you don't get the opportunities, do you? You've got to put yourself out there.
And like I say, old adages are always the best because every day's a school day, isn't it? And
yeah.
What's the worst you get from a conversation? You probably actually get a little bit of learning. The worst you're going to get. I mean, if I speak to other brokers or I speak to lenders, surveyors, or, accountants, whatever, you learn something. If you actually, again, use that word of reflection, if you reflect on what someone's saying, you're like, all business owners are relatively similar in terms of our concerns or worries, like we said. So you thought, when I speak to you, and I'm like, well, actually, it's interesting. When I met Lewis, and it's like, oh, this is interesting. What's Marcus doing? What's the aim of this? Is that something I need to do as well?
Yeah.
Equally, when it comes to getting clients, just talking to people, and they'll be like, well, actually, I didn't realise you did that. Well, I could actually give you a client.
Oh, you can learn so much. It's like these. I'm so blessed I get to do this. You learn so much of people. I'm working on a sales director role at the moment. We're talking about how the commission works. It's relevant to me because I have a sales director. So I'm like, oh, cool, yeah. So you do half on this, and then it works on, gross profit, etc. And I'm helping someone else with their business, but I'm learning so much.
100%. Because then you look at commission structure is a great thing because then you look at it and go, actually, what am I doing? Am I doing the right thing for my staff and for my business or not, or whatever the case may be? But because obviously the other thing is, if you have got good staff, the next thing is retention is always a problem because we have lovely recruiters.
It's not me knocking on their door, mate. You know the rules. But no, that's always that is the constant problem, right? There's a reason that people like me get paid. Because it's hard to keep people, and I say that, and I always wax on about retention with people because I know we don't get paid for you to retain your staff, but when you find someone good, it's just tough to keep them. But having said that, you do lose the people that eventually aren't part of the journey. You do look at it later on, and go, do you know what? That would have been a problem later. Do you know what? That didn't work out, but it's not the end of the world. Like no one is bigger than the game, are they?
Yeah, and people you want to wish people well, and people have different life goals again, and all that kind of stuff. So. Yeah, it's part of the journey. You can't get too upset when people disappear. You can't get too upset, or can't be too cheery when people stay, and all this kind of stuff. It's, again, it's as level as possible.
Amazing. Good. I kept you way longer than I said I would. So 25, we're nearly on 40. But if you give one bit of advice, Steve, as a business owner. So if you get as a long-standing mortgage broker, if you've got a guy who's you looking to sell, what advice would you give to someone who wants to become a business owner within our industry?
My first bit of advice, which I didn't do enough of, is planning. The planning bit at the beginning, I think, is so key. And I mean, strategy is another word that we use a lot. Is what strategy are you going to do? Where's your client base? How am I going to attract clients? They're the lifeblood of your business. Where am I going to base myself? What am I going to do? The whole planning bit, actually, you could lock yourself in a room for a day or two, just write down on pieces of paper, and then get a plan. It's something I wish I'd done in my first year, and rather than be a little bit scattered.
First of all, you just kind of let's go and make money, don't you? Yeah, that's the plan.
Oh, I've got my website. Great. I've got my place I'm going to work. I've got some chairs. It's lovely. We're flying. But because actually, again, the more experience you get with it, the more you plan and the more you think actually there's.
You're not really a business owner at the beginning, are you? You're just a guy out trying to get some money.
Exactly. So I think planning is the key, and also. And I always say this to my guys, just take your time as well. Sometimes we're always in a rush to get somewhere, and then you feel under pressure to do something because of timescales that you're putting yourself under pressure.
You've made up, yeah.
A month is a long time. Stuff can happen, and in any time in that month. So don't get too stressed about how things are going. If you've got a good plan, you've got a good strategy, you've got good staff, things will happen.
Nice. Amazing, mate. We will leave it on that lovely note at the end. But if anyone wants to get hold of you, Steve, obviously all your socials will be on our socials. But if anyone wants to speak to you about whether it's broking or business owning or working with Credicus, etc., what's the best way to speak to you? I mean, working with Credicus, speak through me, but no, I'm joking.
Yeah, obviously I'm on LinkedIn, but if anybody wants to drop me a line, as sb@credicus.com. Happy to speak to anyone.
Don't put your phone number on there. There's a lot of weirdos on Spotify. But
no, I'm not going to do that. Yeah.
Amazing, thank you, mate.
Someone like Charlie Gregory coming around.
He's on it. He's finally.
Last week.
He's taking.
I told him he was second best last week.
He is, yeah. He's fuming, because he's third today. But lovely to speak to you. Thank you, everyone listening on Spotify and watching on YouTube. I appreciate your time, Steve. I'll catch up with you soon.
Yeah, cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate.